If you've ever hesitated before hitting donate, you likely share a very common fear that your money isn't actually reaching the people who need it, but is instead being swallowed up by marketing budgets and administrative overhead. The alternative to that black box is direct giving. This means bypassing the heavy institutional middlemen entirely to put your capital straight into the hands of individuals and families. To evaluate how to do this effectively, we must look past emotional marketing appeals and focus on strict efficiency. This quadrant chart maps charitable models. The horizontal axis measures administrative bloat, and the vertical axis tracks direct recipient impact. Plotting traditional mega-charities, they scatter unpredictably across the middle and right. It's unclear what pays for a billboard versus a hot meal. But choosing to bypass those traditional organizations introduces a new dilemma. Direct giving isn't one single method, and doing it right forces you to navigate structural trade-offs between maximizing your financial leverage and seeing the impact in your own community. We are going to break down 3 highly distinct direct giving models to help you map your money to your specific values and tax constraints. Effectively navigating these options requires strategically aligning your capital with your specific financial constraints and desired impact radius. Let's start with the first category, direct unconditional cash transfers, driven by organizations like GiveDirectly and GiveWell. This model operates by sending funds directly via mobile money to individuals living in extreme poverty, primarily across East Africa or in targeted disaster zones. Looking at our comparison matrix, you can see why this model is popular. Direct cash maintains remarkable efficiency. About 85 to 90 cents of every dollar you give lands directly in the recipient's hands as liquid cash. Plus, it qualifies as a 501c3 tax deduction. Extensive academic research backs this up, proving that recipients don't waste the money. They spend it far more efficiently on essentials like food, healthcare, and shelter than top-down programs do. For you, the donor, this method offers massive global scale. You get a fully tax-deductible write-off while knowing your dollar stretches incredibly far in a developing economy. The trade-off, however, is distance and autonomy. You sacrifice local proximity, and you surrender complete control over exactly who receives the money and what they choose to buy with it. Direct cash transfers are built for those who want to mathematically maximize their efficiency at a global scale, rather than those seeking a hands-on, personal connection to the result. The second category is microlending. Platforms like Kiva allow you to support specific individuals directly. Instead of giving an unrestricted grant, you are funding targeted loans for students, farmers, or small businesses around the world. Because the historical repayment rate sits at over 95%, this creates a cyclical loop of capital. As the entrepreneur pays back the loan, those funds return to your account. We can add microlending to our matrix here. It boasts a 100% directness rate for the principal given to the borrower, but note the tax status. Because you technically get the money back, the initial output is not tax deductible. That lack of a tax break is the core operational trade-off. You are trading a deduction for longevity. It also requires active management. To keep the impact going, you have to consciously log back into the platform and re-lend the funds once a loan clears. Microlending transforms your philanthropy from a one-way financial write-off into a revolving portfolio. It fits perfectly if you prioritize sustained economic empowerment over an immediate tax break. Our third category is direct bill and debt relief. This splits into 2 very different approaches: institutional debt abolition and grassroots mutual aid. First, medical debt abolition. Nonprofits in this space purchase large bundles of predatory, past-due medical debt for pennies on the dollar, and then they forgive it completely. This creates extreme financial leverage. A single $100 donation can scale rapidly to relieve roughly $10,000 in medical debt for families facing bankruptcy. It's mathematically staggering and fully tax-deductible, but the trade-off is abstraction. Wiping out a ledger balance somewhere in the country doesn't offer the tangible feeling of handing someone physical goods. If you want that tangibility, you move to the opposite end of the bill pay spectrum: local grassroots funds and mutual aid networks. These community-level groups operate with zero bureaucratic middle layers. They distribute funds to pay past-due heating bills, clear student lunch balances, or cover rent directly in your own neighborhood. The catch here is structural. These informal networks rarely hold 501c3 status. Your donation yields zero tax write-offs and lacks formalized oversight. Pulling up our matrix one last time, we fill in both ends of this spectrum. Medical debt abolition gives you extreme leverage and a tax deduction. Mutual aid routes 100% to a local balance, but usually with no tax benefit. Direct bill relief forces the starkest choice in giving. You have to choose between immense, abstract leverage on a global scale or tangible, unscalable relief right in your own backyard. Because every direct giving model involves specific sacrifices, there is no objective best method. It entirely depends on your personal constraints. We can route your funds using a simple logic tree. It asks 2 questions. Do you require a tax deduction? And do you prefer massive scale and leverage or local, immediate impact? If you are an ROI optimizer, meaning you require a tax deduction and demand maximum global leverage, your path leads straight to unconditional cash transfers or medical debt abolition. If you are a community builder who prioritizes immediate, tangible impact in your backyard and doesn't care about a tax write-off, you follow the path to mutual aid or local utility balances. And if you're a sustained funder who views giving as cyclical empowerment, ready to manage a revolving portfolio without tax breaks, your path lands on microlending. We also have to acknowledge that despite the overhead risks, some of you will still prefer donating to legacy, traditional charities. If you take that route, there is a mandatory vetting rule. You need to use watchdog groups like Charity Navigator or Candid to verify the organization's IRS Form 990s. Set a hard mathematical baseline. Ensure that at least 75 to 85% of their total expenses are dedicated strictly to programming, not fundraising or administration. Effective giving isn't about finding a flawless, zero overhead charity. It's about consciously choosing your operational trade-off and deploying your capital exactly where it aligns with your values.